I remember a funny story, and it was a stressful story at the same time. I remember Ben came back from going to dinner or something with the Wilsons, and he said, "We're doing It Is Well. We're doing It Is Well." And I was like, "Oh, okay, we're gonna redo It Is Well, all right." And he's like, "We have to do it." And I was like, "Okay, well, we're gonna make that happen." Ben said it's gonna happen, okay, we have to make it happen. And I was actually really stressed out about it at first because it's actually one of my favorite hymns, and it's very well known and hard to get away from the original hymn itself. To sort of mold that song into what we're doing in our worship experience, I was having this really difficult time wrapping my head around it. And honestly, now it's like, as much as worried as I was about it, and as I was like, "Oh, thanks, now we have to make this happen out of midair, just out of nothing." It's probably my favorite thing on the record in the end. I think it came out awesome. The songs that made it onto the album, we didn't really get that picture for what those songs were until last fall, and when Mackenzie's story sort of came to us.
Mackenzie Noel Wilson was a 15-year-old high school student. One of the things she did on one of her birthdays was that she asked all her friends to just bring money instead of gifts, and then she donated that money to a charity. She was really just full of life. She's the one that really brought her family to church. She was the first one in her family to make a public profession of faith and really led her family towards just the cross, really. She's the one that really drove the family towards the cross.
That was very inspiring to me, of course, with Mackenzie's story and the Wilsons and their whole family and everything that they've gone through and finding peace through this whole thing. And so I wrote a song for this album called The Reason, sort of around that idea and finding peace in God and knowing that God is faithful, and maybe not knowing, maybe realizing that God is faithful when you're maybe upset, or Mackenzie's passing, or I can only imagine what the Wilsons emotionally have maybe gone through, and trying to find peace in the middle of all that, and probably being angry with God in the middle of that, but God still being faithful and allowing them to find peace in Him.
It is well.